Remember when Harry Potter said, "I don't go looking for trouble, trouble usually finds me"? Well, it found him all right, in bulk. Imagine this, folks. Our young wizard Harry, fresh off his 4th year at Hogwarts, is spending his summer at the Dursleys, minding his own business. He's just trying to enjoy his break, but the universe has other plans. You see, Harry's summer vacation turns into a horror show when he and his cousin Dudley are attacked by none other than Dementors. Yes, the same soul-sucking monsters that are supposed to be guarding Azkaban. Talk about a holiday gone wrong. But of course, Harry isn't one to back down. He whips out his wand and casts a Patronus charm, saving both himself and Dudley. A heroic act, right? You'd think he'd get a pat on the back, maybe even a medal, but no. Instead, he gets a howler from the Ministry of Magic, expelling him from Hogwarts just for defending himself. It's like getting a parking ticket for pulling over to help someone. And as if that isn't enough, Harry is then dragged to a full-on trial at the Ministry. Not just a hearing, mind you, but a trial with the entire Wizengamot. It's like sending a kid to the Supreme Court for a schoolyard scuffle. And the charge? Underage magic. Not the Dementor attack, but underage magic. Honestly, you can't make this stuff up. But true to form, Harry stands his ground. He argues his case, recounting the Dementor attack and the necessity of his actions. Thankfully, sanity prevails and Harry is cleared of all charges. But not before he's had a taste of the absurdity of wizarding bureaucracy. So folks, remember, the next time you save yourself from soul-sucking monsters, you might get a stern letter. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So Harry's back at Hogwarts, but there's a new sheriff in town and she's all pink and purrs like a cat. Meet Dolores Umbridge. Now, Hogwarts has seen a fair share of eccentric teachers, but Dolores Umbridge, the new Defense Against the Dark Arts professor, takes the cake. She's all about rules, regulations, and a disturbing amount of pink. She's like a fluffy bunny if that bunny was also a tyrannical dictator. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Meanwhile, the Order of the Phoenix is reforming. This secret society, first established by Albus Dumbledore, is back in action to counter the dark forces. They're a motley crew of witches and wizards, all committed to fighting the rise of you-know-who. But back at Hogwarts, students are blissfully unaware of this brewing storm. Back to our pink terror, Umbridge. With every passing day, her reign at Hogwarts becomes more and more absurd. She's handing out decrees like candy, each one more ridiculous than the last. There's one banning the Quibbler, another prohibiting the use of magic in the corridors, and my personal favorite, the one that bans all student organizations. But the students of Hogwarts aren't known for their compliance. They're rule breakers, adventurers, and let's face it, a bit rebellious. So they start an underground defense group. Because who needs Umbridge's theoretical defense lessons when you've got Harry Potter, the boy who lived and fought a mountain troll in his first year, as your teacher? This group, known as Dumbledore's Army, or DA for short, becomes a beacon of hope in the increasingly oppressive Hogwarts. They're the resistance, the rebels, the ones who refuse to be silenced. And Umbridge? Well, she's none the wiser. And that's how Hogwarts became a pink dictatorship and the students became freedom fighters. Who knew school could be so political? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When life gives you Umbridge, make an illegal defense club. Now that's exactly what our dear Harry Potter does. Fed up with the Pink Terror's refusal to teach proper defense against the dark arts, Harry, along with his loyal comrades Hermione and Ron, decide to take matters into their own hands. They form a secret society, a rebellion against the tyranny of Umbridge, a beacon of hope in the gloom of Hogwarts. They call it Dumbledore's Army, or the DA for short. The DA doesn't meet in some dingy dungeon or creepy corridor. No, they assemble in the Room of Requirement, a magical room that appears only to those who are in desperate need of it. How fitting, considering their desperate need to learn real magic, not just theory. The room is perfect, providing them with everything they need, from practice dummies to an abundance of spell books. Now imagine Harry Potter, the boy who lived, the boy who faced Voldemort multiple times, the boy who has been through more in his 15 years than most wizards in their lifetime, becoming a teacher. Isn't that a bit ironic? But Harry rises to the occasion, teaching his peers spells and defenses that he's learned in his own battles. Their secret meetings are filled with more than just magic lessons. There's camaraderie, laughter, and quite a few mishaps. Picture Neville Longbottom accidentally disarming himself or Cho Chang's Patronus turning into a rabbit. It's these quirky moments that make their grim situation a bit brighter. However, it's not all fun and games. The DA is, after all, a rebellion. They're breaking rules, risking expulsion and possibly even Azkaban. But they know it's worth the risk. They're learning valuable skills, building bonds, and most importantly, they're preparing to fight the growing darkness. So Harry, expelled for using magic, now teaches magic. You couldn't make this up if you tried. You know what they say about curiosity and the cat. Harry didn't have a cat, but he sure was curious. And so, our tale continues with Harry having a rather distressing vision about Sirius. Now, if you've been following Harry's adventures, you'd know that he's not the type to sit around when his loved ones are in danger. So what does he do? He rounds up his trusty band of rebels and decides to go on a rescue mission. To the Ministry of Magic, no less. Their mission to save Sirius from Voldemort's clutches. A simple task, you might think. But remember, this is Harry Potter we're talking about. Nothing is ever simple. Their journey through the Ministry was more like a roller coaster ride. Doors that led to more doors, rooms filled with towering shelves, and a prophecy that everyone seemed to want. It was like a bizarre game of hide and seek, only the stakes were a tad bit higher. Just when they thought they were home free, who should appear but the Death Eaters? It was time for a showdown. But these weren't trained wizards and witches they were up against. These were students, teenagers, yet they held their own. They fought with everything they had, using spells that would have made their professors proud. And then the unexpected happened. The prophecy was destroyed. You could hear a pin drop in that moment. But there was no time to mourn lost prophecies. They still had Death Eaters to deal with. In the midst of the chaos, who should make an appearance but the man of the hour himself, Voldemort? Now, if this were a school trip, it'd be safe to say it had gone horribly wrong. But our heroes didn't back down. They fought, they persevered, and they survived. So Harry and his gang fought Death Eaters, saved the prophecy, and even had Voldemort show up. Talk about an eventful school trip. The world was a lot simpler when the worst thing was Voldemort. Now there's paperwork. Imagine the wizarding world was once consumed by the dread of he who must not be named. But now it's all about triplicate forms, signatures, and the ever-daunting Ministry memos. The aftermath of the Battle of the Ministry was a whirlwind of parchment, and not the fun kind with spells on it. Cornelius Fudge, the minister himself, finally acknowledged Voldemort's return. It took a full-on magical duel in the Ministry's atrium to convince him, but better late than never, right? And let's not forget the dismissal of Dolores Umbridge, the pink-clad menace. The Hogwarts community sighed in relief as the Toad in human form was sent packing. Between the relief of Umbridge's exit and the anticipation of another year at Hogwarts, one could almost forget the looming threat of Voldemort. Almost. So that's the tale of Harry's 5th year, a story of bravery, rebellion, and most importantly, surviving high school with a pink toad on the loose.